2 years ago, I had a dream of opening a upick flower farm. Well, my dream has become my reality. So this spring, I planted 8,000 seedlings in my house and grew them under grow lights and then transplanted them on my farm. So this year was my first year open to the public, and I got a lot of experience on what flowers work for a upick flower farm and what flowers don't work for a upick flower farm. So this video is going to be all about the 9 best flowers that I'll be growing next year on my farm. And check out the video I made on the 8 flowers that did not make the cut that I grew this year that I'm not growing next year. So let me show you the 9 best flowers that I'm going to grow next year on my upick flower farm. So the first flower that I did enjoy growing on my farm this year, and I'll tell you why, is the straw flower. Now, a lot of upick flower farmers don't grow straw flowers because they say that a lot of customers don't really pick off of them as much. But for me, it was a very interesting flower for people. They never saw it before. I told them the whole story of how this flower stays exactly like it is, and they were so intrigued by it and excited. And I put it right when they walk in, so it was the first one that I talked about with them, and they really loved it. So the straw flower is the first flower that I will definitely be growing on my farm next year. I will not be growing 100 feet of it. I'm going to keep it to 50 feet by 3-foot rows, just because they're not cutting tons and tons of them. Most people are just taking 1 or 2 stems just to have that special little touch. So I don't need like a giant row of them. So number 2 on the flowers that I will be growing on my upick flower farm next year is Celosia. Celosia was a surprise to me that people loved it so much. They loved the colors, the texture. They never saw it before, so it was something different. Specifically, this variety right here on the chief mix, which people told me looked like a brain or macaroni and cheese. So that I will be growing more of. So yeah, Celosia, I planted about half a row, 50 feet. Next year, I'm definitely going to double it because people loved it so much. So Celosia, you are welcome back on my farm. So the third flower that will be definitely welcome back on my farm, and more in abundant colors and varieties, is Rudbeckia. So Rudbeckia had that beautiful pop of color on my farm. It's a gorgeous yellow. I love the varieties that I planted. I did Prairie Sunrise, I did Indian Summer, I did some cherry ones. Next year, I want to put more Sahara in, fall colors. So this year I planted about 50 to 60 feet of the Rudbeckia. Some of it, unfortunately, is already getting white powdery mildew. I'm going to succession plant it better next year so that if that happens, I'll have newer ones. Like this was succession planted, so it's doing a little bit better. But I'm going to put about 100 feet next year on my farm. So Rudbeckia is definitely a flower that everybody loved, and I loved it too. So the fourth flower that I'm definitely growing next year on my farm is Gomphrena. And as you can see, Gomphrena is beautiful because Gomphrena keeps its color all season. As soon as it starts to bloom, the little blooms stay like this all season. So they're not dying off, they're just here, and they're just abundantly beautiful. Now, I planted a lot of pinks, as you can see. Next year I will be planting more varieties of it, and they're great for a dried flower too. So people love seeing these. They're like little magical flowers. So yeah, Gomphrena, you are definitely coming back to my farm next year. Okay guys, so number 5 on my list of flowers that I will be planting are marigolds. Now, if you look at the marigolds right now, you might say, I don't know, Claudette, those don't look so good. Why would you plant those again? Well, the marigolds, before they got disease like this, were absolutely gorgeous. And I will tell you that the Japanese beetles only attacked my marigolds and nothing else. So that in itself is a reason why I will definitely be planting them, because they saved my other flowers. They were very beautiful up until about a week ago, so beginning of September. I probably think I could have saved them if I had sprayed them. I'm going to try that next year to be proactive about it. But the marigolds were gorgeous. They were helpful plant for the other plants. So marigolds, you're welcome back on my farm next year. So number 6 on my list, and I'm sure if you have a farm or you pick flower farm, this is definitely a flower that you're keeping on your farm, are the zinnias. So the zinnias are definitely the most popular flower. I mean, look at them. The colors on them. I chose to do a mixed variety, which I like. I like the variety in between, that people are finding the colors that they want. I don't know if I'm going to go monotone and put all purples and pinks. I kind of like this. So this year I planted 200 feet of zinnias. I might actually do 300 feet next year because I'll be taking out some things. So zinnias are definitely on my list. This was the Benary Giant variety. Next year I might try the Oklahoma because I've heard great things about the Oklahoma. They bloom a little bit quicker. So yeah, as you can can see, if you zoom in a little bit, they do have powdery white mildew. Now, I do have to say that we didn't have a lot of rain this season, and the powdery white mildew started early in the season when we had a cold, rainy spring. So it's very weird what happened here. I don't know if it's due to because it had this in the spring or because, you know, it was a dry summer. So again, this is going to have to be a test just to see what happens with them. But even so, as you can see, they have a lot of powdery white mildew. It is not affecting the blooms on here, so they will be coming back next year, zinnias, definitely. So number 7 on my flowers that I will be growing next year are sunflowers. Sunflowers are beautiful because they're everyone's favorite to put in their bouquet. This year I grew Pro Cut orange, and they worked out great. I did grow another variety that wasn't a Pro Cut, and it was absolutely beautiful. It's this variety right here. These big, beautiful, look at that. The problem with these is they drop pollen. So unfortunately, even though they're beautiful, I'm not gonna grow them. I'm just gonna grow a lot of Pro Cuts that are pollenless, like the whites. I'm gonna try different colors because I did all traditional oranges this year. Next year, I wanna add in some different colors. So sunflowers, you are definitely welcome back on my farm next year. So last but not least, number 9 on my list of the 9 best flowers to have on my flower farm next year is basil. And I love basil because basil gives that beautiful smell to the bouquet. And this year I added a variety. Last year I just did cinnamon basil because it has the beautiful purple flowers. But this year I added the lemon basil. And the lemon basil is very cool because I tell people, here, smell this, it smells like Fruit Loops. And they're like, whoa, that is so cool. So the lemon basil was very popular, even more so than the cinnamon basil. But what I'm gonna do next year is I'm gonna definitely succession plant it out. Now look, I don't have that much lemon basil that I planted, and there's still so much of it. I probably only planted about 10 feet of it, so I don't need on my farm more than 10 feet. So that basil's awesome because you don't have to plant a lot of it. It makes a big bang in the bouquet. They take one stem, it adds that beautiful smell to it, and that's it. So that is definitely something I'll be planting next year, more of my lemon basil. Okay guys, so those were the 9 flowers that I will be growing on my farm next year that I love. If you want to see the video on the 8 flowers that I cut out of this farm that I didn't like this year, go to my page and watch the 8 flowers that I will not be growing next year. So guys, like and subscribe for more videos on my flower farm and beautiful cut flowers to grow that you'll love too.